Hey, it's Soul. It's January 12, 2018. This is Warcraft Weekly. That's Bob, and let's just get right to it. Today's show is going to be a little bit skinny because he was reading a book. Because I was reading a book, yes. I know it's not a very good excuse, but we are just a little bit light on the news, and, well, maybe you'll find out why by the end. We did get a new build this week that just kind of reflects some of the announcements that had happened throughout this week, with little changes and tweaks that are coming in 7.3.5. The whole thing about Wakening Essence, that's still going to happen, but they upped the values by like a crap ton. They just designed Wakening Essence to work in such a way that you can still start trying to farm for them now, but you pretty much have no hope of really getting ahead of the game with regards to trying to like front load legendaries. And thank goodness, I thought they were going to do something like cut off the maximum amount of Wakening Essence that you can possibly hold together so that you couldn't be really far ahead of the game. But I think this way works too, because one flaw in what I just said is that you could still just get on multiple tunes and just farm a whole bunch of Essence, and then you could possibly front load things that way. You wouldn't get it on like a single tune, but you'd be able to get it on multiple tunes, and this is just a way to, well, basically they fixed it. You can't really game the system, you can't get that far ahead. That's been kind of the prevailing thing about legendaries, and pretty much every iteration or every small change that they've done, they've had, Blizzard has had to do all sorts of things in order to make sure that people don't take advantage of it. And personally, I think that's kind of a problem with the whole game design aspect of legendaries themselves, that you have to, I mean, if Blizzard has to go through these kinds of lengths to, whenever they advance something, they also have to make sure that players don't take advantage of it, then there's a problem there. I guess I'm just glad that it's not coming in BFA. We have other things to look forward to instead. The other change or addition or follow-up on the PTR, and chances are good that once again that this is going to change, are the allied race requirements. I was being a little bit, I guess facetious is the word, last week when I had said, oh, leveling the alliance stuff, oh, that's hecka easy. Horde is so much harder. And I got, I totally expected, and I got a lot of pushback. Oh, no way, it's way harder for the Alliance, because with the Horde, you'll be able to get so far with the reputation, and then the reputation is a big requirement, as opposed to the Alliance, they're gonna have to farm every day for that Argesian reach and that Army of the Light reputation. Oh no. Well, I guess Blizzard listened. Thanks. So now, in order to unlock the Nightborn into your allied race collection, you're gonna have to do pretty much all of Suramar, like all of it. That's a lot of shit. It's still not the end of the world, but that's still a lot more content that's being put on our plate. So as of right now, the debate or the discussion on allied races is mostly about, well, why is it that we're buying Battle for Azeroth, we're getting BFA, but then all of a sudden we have to go through all this old content in order to unlock these allied races? A brand spanking new player might be looking at WoW and they'd be like, hey, I wanna play this World of Whatever Craft game, and ooh, look, those elves have like dark hair and snazzy beards like mine. I want to play that stuff. I want to be that race. And then they realize, oh, in order to do that, I have to make a max level character and then play through all this other content and then wrap up with this faction and then do this quest line. And then I can either race change or I can reroll and do it all over again if I wanted that heritage armor set. Now that is a very daunting task. I don't think there's any doubt around that. And I'm not going to necessarily take a side on that debate because I'm just not interested in allied races. So I consider myself to be unbiased. On the other hand though, and I guess I'm just playing devil's advocate here, there are certain things in games or in life or whatever where you just gotta work for something in order to get it. And sometimes the path to get to that thing that you want is unnecessarily difficult or unnecessarily tedious, but if that thing really plays on your desires, you're gonna go for it. If you're motivated enough to want to become a Void Elf or to become a Nightborn, then you're going to do it and you're probably not going to complain too much. And numbers wise, reasonably, I don't think there's going to be a very high percentage of those brand new kinds of players that are going to immediately be like, no, I am going to be a Blood Elf, or, I'm going to be a Void Elf or F this game. Chances are pretty good that they're going to nerf this at some point. This is just a way to keep players engaged, between now and the start of the next expansion. And then these veterans are going to complain that they had to work so hard while these new plebs didn't have to do much in order to play their stupid Nightborn race. I guess my point is that in the end, it's not going to take that long to unlock these races. It was said to me a number of times in previous comments, but if you went for Pathfinder, you're going to be fine. you're going to have unlocked everything for the Horde side pretty easily if you were at least going down that direction. For the Alliance allied races, I'm actually taking a look at my armory right now, and I was able to get Exalted with Army of the Light in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, and for Argosian Reach, it took me, it looks like a month, and that's like 2 weeks or a month of just like world quests, you know, half an hour a day. You know, it's not a whole lot of work that I really put into it. If you want to complain about anything, I would complain about there not being Night Elf or Undead Paladins yet. I know that they sound not very attractive, but the stage is set in Legion. You know, they're around. I pretty much expect that sort of race class combination to happen when BFA comes out. Anyway, back to 7.3.5 in general. We haven't seen a release date yet. It's the 12th. I expected the patch to come out on the 16th. Many people actually expected this patch to come out on the 16th. This is partially due to the Call of a Scarab mini holiday that's going to come out just the weekend after. There's like some small model updates and such. So the logic behind that was, well, of course they're going to release the patch then. Otherwise, players are going to have to wait a year to see this content, by the way, which only lasts for like a weekend anyway. So while I would see like the 16th as the earliest time when the patch would come out, and for all I know, and I'll point right above me right now, in case between now and post-production they do announce the expansion, there it is, you know, and me feeling like an idiot. There's still plenty of time for the patch to come out right before Lich King time walking, which I think, in my opinion, is a much more impactful milestone to hit. One is because it's like a long-ass time since there's been a patch. And with the Legion timeline, the whole 11-week paradigm, we've come to have that sort of expectation at this point. So good going, Blizzard. You gave us something to hope for.
You promised.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, you promised, guys. So I want to move on to a topic that a lot of people had already talked about. So this is tired and old and all that, but the end of artifacts. Goddamn. So and I'm speaking for the community in this case, a very dangerous thing to do. We were kind of half right. We are, in fact, spoiler alert, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are, in fact, going to stand in front of something and sacrifice our artifacts for the greater good. Here's the thing, though. We have the whole collective story thing going, but it's not exactly the end of our artifacts either. It seems that collectively all 36 or so artifact users are going to stand in front of that giant sword and basically get a lot of artifact power or something like that. That might be the case. It might not. For all we know, we might get an absurd like super jump in artifact power, like all of a sudden we'll get to like 100 or something, but I doubt it. And my speculation is, well, okay, when I mean speculation, I mean this is my hope and prayer. This is like the last bastion, the final defense before I say, wow, what a crappy ending for artifacts. My hope, you know, the point that I'm trying to get to, my hope is that this whole absorbing of this corruption kicks off an individual story for each and every one of our artifact weapons. Yes, I am proposing that Blizzard does, in fact, once again, one more time at least, split content across all 36 things and give a proper send-off to our artifact weapons. And it makes sense. I mean, each weapon has its own little story to it. Some stories, granted, are not as epic as others. So personally, this is just coming from me, I wouldn't mind if certain stories, certain artifacts got a little bit more attention than others. I have a Protection Paladin. It's the only, you know, class, the spec that I play. But if the only thing I end up doing is going back to the altar where I picked up that shield and talk to the guy that I fought to get it and be like, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, thanks for the shield. We're good now, and here you go. I'll just like kind of put it back, and I'm gonna walk out. Peace.
Not really the best ending.
I can't say that I would be happy if that was just like the, you know, that was the end of the Truth Guard, but at least I could say that's my own. I would prefer that than sharing a collective story with like 30 of these weapons. As another example, the Shadow Priest weapon, which has been so affectionately nicknamed the Naifu. I wouldn't mind a more extended scenario where your Shadow Priest is like fighting it or something, you know, it's resisting. It's like, no, you can't put me away, you can't lock me away. Screw, or it's like it grew in power to the point where, you know, it starts to like take over and all that. You know, it could be like its own, you know, epic sort of ending to it. And I think it deserves it. I think that all the weapons deserve a little feel a little bit more love, not this collective blah. The thing that's making me lose hope about it is that unless there's like a bunch of encrypted stuff that we can't see, there is just a lot of stuff that is already being front-loaded in 7.3.5, and that's with regards to BFA. We're seeing all this allied race stuff, fixes, rebalancing, and things like that. So it could be, I mean, everyone's still speculating as to when allied races are going to come out. I made my own predictions, but you know, if nothing else, it just feels like Blizzard is front-loading a bunch of this stuff so that way they can, you know, go full steam ahead on working on BFA. The way I see it, the intention is that this will in fact be the last patch before the pre-expansion patch. But I could be wrong. There could be a crap ton more stuff that they have planned, and BFA's not going to come out until like next March or something. I hope not, but you know.
Hey, Soul, I thought this was going to be like a skitty show.
Well, I talk a lot, but I think the last item of the day I wanted to talk about is with regards to Battle for Azeroth. I wanted to talk very briefly about PvP, and I just want to bring this up as a point of discussion. I'm probably going to have this as the clickbaity thumbnail, so I at least have to talk about it, obviously. I also plan on releasing a little bit more in-depth PvP video about some of the ideas and thoughts that I have on PvP in BFA. Haha. So many acronyms. It's so exciting. OMG, PvP, BFA. Okay, sorry. PvP. Okay, it's going to have huge, sweeping changes, just like almost every other expansion that's come before it. This one's pretty big, though, because it's going to affect all players, not just PvPers, but the PvEers that might be stuck playing with their friends and buddies and guildmates on PvP realms. I'm not going to get too much into detail because there are no details, but the intention of this big sweeping PvP change is to allow new sorts of gameplay paradigms, new sorts of PvP things to do. Like they had talked about bounties, which we don't know anything about. We have no idea how that's going to work. But when I was thinking about it for a while, one thought just kind of dominated my brains. I just couldn't get it out of my head, and I want to share it with you, and I want to see what you guys think. In places that are designed for PvP activity, arenas, battlegrounds, Wintergrasp, Tol Barad, Ashran. I know you hate Ashran, but too bad. They all have one thing in common. You cannot fly. This is all to preserve very basic rules of PvP like engagement. I mean, it'd be pretty boring if you were flying around in Eye of the Storm. It would be interesting / devastating if you can fly around in Alterac Valley. So if Blizzard is going to design entire continents with PvP in mind, should flying still be a thing there too? In my opinion, and I'm even trying to be as objective as possible on this, I think no. I have a feeling that if you're flagged for PvP in the Battle for Azeroth expansion, you will not be able to fly, ever. If you want to fly, you want that convenience of flying. I mean, one, you got to get the whole Pathfinder achievement thing. But if you're just trying to gun through content, or, you know, just gun through like a bunch of emissaries or whatnot, you're going to have to turn that PvP flag off and get right to it. You know, you'll be able to do it very quickly. But if you're out there, if you want to pick a fight and start some mess, you're not going to be able to fly around doing it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and stay tuned for this PvP video. Although for all I know, I might put it out before I even put out this news video. So then I'll feel kind of silly, huh? Well, I like putting out videos, so whatever. I want to take a moment to say goodbye to Patrick Mzac, and I really hope that I'm not butchering his name. He was a big figure in the German WoW community and ran the site Vanian EU. In a post from Peculiar from Wowhead, she says that Vanian immersed himself in all aspects of the German WoW community. He was a prolific German news and guide writer for his namesake site. I was always struck by the care and the originality that went into the site's content. He also produced a variety of podcasts, such as the Raid Talk series with top German players. I heard of him in passing, but didn't give him much attention because, again, German website, German language, and obviously. But he was quite well known, as again Peculiar points out, for an interview that he did with Tom Chilton shortly after the Warlords of Draenor reveal down at Gamescom. This is when we first learned, and again, this is really early in Warlords development, that Gromash Hellscream was going to be the last boss of the expansion, prompting kind of a lot of outrage. At any rate, thank you, Patrick, for your contributions to the community. You will not be forgotten. You will be missed. And that's the show. I know, it ended up being a longer show. Oh well. I want to give a special shout out to our newest contributors, Watermelon and Callum, well, who has already been contributing, but well, you get a shout out twice. You might have noticed at the beginning of my videos that I do a kind of fake sponsorship. I've been doing it for Rethqual as well as Shaddix. It's just a little reward or a thank you for being one of my top patrons. I know it's a little bit silly using your name as like a fake product to promote, but I think it's a fun little thing. And well, like I said, just to give a big thank you for those of you who make your real life cash money contribution to this channel. Every contribution, whether it's likes and comments and subscriptions and dollar signs, all that stuff helps to keep this channel alive. So stay tuned next week for more of all of this, more of me, a sprinkle of Bob over there. And thank you once again for letting me be a short part of your day. I'll see you around, but until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.